Joseph's story begins in the land of Canaan. He was only 17, the son of Jacob and Rachel, and already his life stood out from the rest of his brothers. Jacob loved Joseph deeply. He was the child of Jacob's old age and of his favorite wife, Rachel. And because of that, Joseph wasn't treated like everyone else. Jacob gave Joseph a special gift, a beautiful robe woven with many colors. It wasn't just clothing, it was a symbol. A symbol of honor, blessing, and favoritism. But for Joseph's brothers, it was a painful reminder that they would never be loved as much as he was. The jealousy grew like a storm inside of them. And to make matters worse, Joseph sometimes reported back to his father about his brother's behavior. That didn't exactly win him any points. But the real spark came from Joseph's dreams. One morning, he eagerly told his brothers, "I dreamed we were tying bundles of grain in the field. My bundle stood tall, and yours gathered around mine and bowed down." The brothers glared at him. "Do you think you will rule over us?" Their anger only deepened. Not long after, Joseph had another dream. This time he saw the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing down to him. When he shared it, even Jacob rebuked him, "Do you really think your mother and I and your brothers will bow to you?" Yet, secretly, Jacob tucked the dream away in his mind. But Joseph's brothers weren't interested in symbols or hidden meanings. They were furious. And soon, they had the chance to act on their jealousy. Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers as they grazed flocks near Shechem. When they saw him coming in his colorful robe, their anger boiled over. "Here comes the dreamer," they sneered. "Let's kill him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." Reuben, the oldest, tried to stop them from shedding blood. "Don't kill him," he said. "Throw him into this pit." He secretly planned to rescue Joseph later. So when Joseph arrived, smiling and unsuspecting, they stripped off his robe and threw him into a dry pit. And as he cried from the darkness, they sat down to eat. Then a caravan of traders passed by, heading to Egypt. Judah said, "Why kill him? Let's sell him." And for 20 pieces of silver, Joseph was sold and carried away as a slave. Reuben returned later, only to find the pit empty. In despair, he tore his clothes. But it was too late. To cover their crime, the brothers dipped Joseph's robe in goat's blood and presented it to Jacob. "Look what we found," they said. "Do you recognize it?" Jacob recognized it instantly. His heart shattered. "It is my son's robe. A wild animal has devoured him." He wept for days, refusing comfort. His beloved son was gone, or so he thought. But Joseph wasn't gone. His journey was just beginning. The traders sold Joseph to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and captain of the guard in Egypt. At first, Joseph was just another slave. But something about him stood out. Everything he touched prospered. Potiphar noticed and soon put Joseph in charge of his entire household. Joseph had lost his home, his family, and his freedom, yet he lived with integrity and faith. But success often attracts problems. Potiphar's wife noticed Joseph too. Day after day, she tried to seduce him. But Joseph refused, saying, "How could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" One day, she grabbed his cloak, and Joseph ran out of the house, leaving it behind. Furious, she accused him of trying to assault her. Potiphar believed her, and Joseph was thrown into prison. It would have been easy to give up, but even in prison, Joseph's faith didn't waver. The prison warden soon noticed his character and put him in charge of the other prisoners. While there, 2 of Pharaoh's officials, the cupbearer and the baker, were thrown into prison. Both had troubling dreams, and Joseph told them, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer's dream meant he would be restored in 3 days. The baker's dream meant he would be executed. And just as Joseph said, both dreams came true. Before the cupbearer left, Joseph begged him, "Remember me." But the cupbearer forgot. 2 long years passed. Then Pharaoh himself had 2 disturbing dreams: 7 healthy cows eaten by 7 thin cows, and 7 full heads of grain swallowed by 7 withered ones. None of Pharaoh's wise men could explain them. That's when the cupbearer remembered Joseph. He told Pharaoh about the Hebrew prisoner who could interpret dreams. Joseph was quickly brought from the dungeon, cleaned up, and presented before Pharaoh. Pharaoh said, "I hear you can interpret dreams." Joseph answered, "I cannot, but God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires." After hearing the dreams, Joseph explained, "Both dreams are one message. Egypt will have 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of severe famine. Appoint a wise man to store food during the good years so the nation may survive the famine." Pharaoh and his officials were amazed. "Can we find anyone like this man, filled with the Spirit of God?" Pharaoh asked. Right then, Joseph's life changed. At 30 years old, he was made second in command of Egypt, clothed in fine linen, given Pharaoh's ring, and placed in charge of the entire land. During the 7 years of abundance, Joseph stored vast amounts of grain. And when the famine came, Egypt had enough food, not only for themselves but for people from all the surrounding lands. And among those who came seeking food were Joseph's brothers. When the brothers arrived, they bowed low before Egypt's governor, fulfilling Joseph's dreams from years ago. But they didn't recognize him. Joseph, however, recognized them instantly. He tested them, accusing them of being spies. They pleaded their innocence, saying they were 12 brothers, one was gone, and the youngest was at home with their father. Hearing Benjamin's name stirred Joseph's heart. He demanded they bring Benjamin to prove their story. He kept Simeon as a hostage and sent the others home with grain, secretly returning their silver. Later, when they returned with Benjamin, Joseph hosted them for a feast. But he set one final test. He planted his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. As they departed, his steward caught them and accused them of theft. The brothers were crushed. If Benjamin was lost, their father Jacob would not survive the grief. Judah stepped forward and begged, "Take me instead. Let the boy go home. I cannot bear to see my father's sorrow." At those words, Joseph broke down. He sent all the Egyptians out of the room, wept loudly, and finally revealed himself, "I am Joseph, your brother, the one you sold into Egypt. Is my father still alive?" The brothers were stunned, unable to speak. But Joseph reassured them, "Don't be afraid. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to save many lives." He embraced them, forgave them, and welcomed them into his new life. When Pharaoh heard about Joseph's family, he invited them to settle in Egypt and enjoy the best of the land. Jacob and his entire household, 70 people in all, moved to Egypt. Father and son were reunited after years apart, their tears mingling with joy. Before Jacob died, he blessed his sons and reminded them of God's promises. After his death, the brothers once again feared Joseph's revenge. But Joseph repeated his words, "Am I in the place of God? What you meant for harm, God turned for good." Joseph lived long enough to see his children and grandchildren. Before he died, he made his family promise to carry his bones back to the land God had promised. And generations later, when Moses led Israel out of Egypt, they took Joseph's bones with them, through the Red Sea, through the wilderness, all the way to the Promised Land. Joseph's story is more than just history, it's a lesson for us today. Life isn't always fair. People may betray us, disappoint us, or even try to destroy us. But Joseph shows us that our setbacks are not the end of the story. From the pit to the prison to the palace, Joseph's life proves that when we stay faithful, God can turn pain into purpose. What others mean for harm, God can transform into good, not just for us, but for the people around us. So if you're in a pit season right now, remember, it's not your final chapter. The same God who was with Joseph is with you. And just as Joseph's dreams came true, God's promises for your life will also come true in His perfect time.